For 3 years, everyone said Europe was finished. China has the technology, China has the price, China has the future. And every quarterly report, every analyst, every automotive journalist was writing the same obituary. Europe is too slow, too expensive, and too proud to survive what's coming. Then something nobody predicted happened. Europe went to China, studied the enemy, watched how they built, how they priced, how they turned a battery into a weapon that was closing markets from Sydney to Stockholm. And then Europe came back and built 5 cars using Chinese technology, Chinese methods, and in one case, the actual Chinese company that was destroying European sales. The results were not subtle. Mercedes surged 87% in Europe in a single quarter. The same quarter, its China sales fell 30%. BMW hired a Chinese autonomous driving company to build the brain of its most advanced production car. And Volkswagen, the most iconic automotive brand in European history, walked into the Beijing Auto Show and presented a car built in direct partnership with Xpeng, the same Chinese rival that was taking its customers one by one. Is this surrender? Is this genius? Hit like, subscribe, ring the bell. 5 cars, 5 different ways Europe used China's own weapons against it. From 5th to 1st. Let's go. In 5th place, the comeback that started with humiliation and ended with the lowest price tag on any new electric vehicle sold in Europe. 5th place, the 2026 Renault Twingo E-Tech. And the origin story of this car is the origin story of Europe's entire counteroffensive against China. Renault was expelled from China, not gradually, not through declining market share, expelled. 0 presence, 0 sales, 0 future in the world's largest automotive market. It was the kind of failure that ends careers and reshapes companies. And for a brief period, it seemed like it might end Renault's ambitions in the EV era entirely. As Chinese brands began entering European markets at prices Renault's traditional cost structure could not match. So Renault made a decision that its own engineers initially resisted. If Chinese battery chemistry is the reason Chinese EVs cost less, then Renault would use Chinese battery chemistry. The Twingo E-Tech is built around a lithium iron phosphate, LFP battery. The same chemistry that BYD uses in the Blade battery, the same chemistry that allows Chinese automakers to price electric vehicles below what European manufacturers previously considered structurally possible. LFP batteries cost less per kilowatt hour, last longer through charge cycles, and are safer in thermal events than NMC chemistry European brands had historically preferred. The trade-off is slightly lower energy density, which is why the Twingo E-Tech delivers around 200 kilometers of WLTP range rather than 300 plus. But for a city car priced at €19,490, 200 kilometers is exactly enough for exactly the buyer Renault is targeting. It's 3,770 millimeters long, shorter than a Volkswagen Polo. The Twingo E-Tech is genuinely urban-sized. A 7-inch touchscreen with wireless smartphone integration, rear-wheel drive for the natural small car feel, fast charging on public infrastructure, and a price that for the first time in European EV history puts a brand new electric vehicle below the psychological €20,000 threshold that market researchers consistently identified as the point where mainstream European buyers convert from interested to buying. 4th place. And this one requires a moment of honest accounting, because the car that earns 4th place was born directly from one of the most painful corporate failures in Volkswagen's modern history. 4th place, the 2026 Volkswagen ID Polo, the most affordable Volkswagen electric vehicle ever built, and the product that would not exist in this form without the lessons VW extracted from losing 72% of its electric vehicle sales in China, in what the company's own executives described as the worst EV performance in 25 years. Here is what happened in China. VW arrived in the electric vehicle era with products that Chinese buyers found familiar, Solid, reliable, well-engineered by traditional metrics, and almost completely uncompetitive by the new metrics that Chinese consumers had adopted. Software integration, over-the-air updates, large-screen digital cockpits that felt like smartphones, feature generosity at every price point, and above all, price. BYD, Xpeng, and NIO were delivering more features, more technology, and more electric range at lower prices than VW's cost structure could match. The market share collapsed. The board noticed, and VW did something that European corporate culture does not do easily. It admitted the problem publicly and changed direction. The MEB entry platform, the architecture under the ID Polo, is the direct result of that admission. Where VW's original MEB platform was engineered to European cost and component standards, MEB entry incorporates specific design simplifications and supply chain decisions that Chinese engineers proposed to the German development team. Fewer components, lower-cost battery cell procurement, manufacturing processes that prioritize volume efficiency over traditional German engineering completeness. The result is a platform that can deliver a 320-kilometer range electric vehicle at a €25,000 price point, a number VW's engineers told the board was impossible on the original MEB. The car itself delivers what the segment requires, a B-segment body, roughly Polo-sized, with VW's interior quality standards maintained, despite the cost reduction elsewhere. The 10-inch infotainment touchscreen, keyless entry, LED headlights standard, the ID design language that has established recognition across the electric lineup, and the VW badge, which in Europe still carries the reliability perception that Chinese brands are spending billions trying to build from scratch.
Third place. And this is the turnaround that the automotive world did not see coming from the brand that seemed most exposed to Chinese competition at the premium end of the market. Third place, the 2026 Mercedes CLA Electric, the car that saved Mercedes in Europe in the same quarter that Mercedes lost 30% of its sales in China. Two numbers, same brand, same quarter, different continents, completely opposite trajectories. And the reason those trajectories diverged is the story of how European premium engineering adapted to survive. Mercedes in China was caught in the same trap as every other European premium brand. Chinese luxury buyers who had spent years associating the three-pointed star with status began shifting allegiance to NIO, Li Auto, and BYD's Yangwang brand. The reason was not that Mercedes became worse, the reason was that Chinese domestic luxury brands became dramatically better, faster, and at lower price points than Mercedes could match with vehicles developed for global markets. China sales fell 30% in Q2 2026. Mercedes needed a European answer to a Chinese problem. The CLA Electric was that answer, and the engineering decisions behind it reflect exactly how much Mercedes had been watching and learning from Chinese EV development. The 800-volt electrical architecture, enabling 300 kilowatt peak charging speeds, is the same voltage standard that Porsche and Hyundai adopted after Chinese automakers proved that 400-volt charging was too slow for mainstream acceptance. The battery cell chemistry on the long-range variant uses LFP technology, similar to what BYD popularized for cost efficiency and longevity. The software platform received a complete overhaul, moving from the MBUX system that reviewers consistently found overly complex to a more intuitive, responsively updated interface that industry analysts directly compared to the fluidity of Chinese EV software experiences. The result was 6,942 units delivered in March 2026, the best single month in the history of Mercedes electric vehicles. Not the best month for the CLA specifically, the best month for any Mercedes EV ever. And across Q2 2026, Mercedes EV sales in Europe rose 87%. 87% in a single quarter, while China fell 30% in the same quarter.
Second place. And this is where the European strategy against China stops being about batteries and pricing and becomes about something that makes automotive traditionalists deeply uncomfortable. Second place, the 2027 BMW iX3, the car that carries BMW's most advanced autonomous driving system. a system built by Momenta, a Chinese artificial intelligence company headquartered in Beijing, backed by Toyota and General Motors investors, that has been developing autonomous driving technology in China, while BMW was issuing profit warnings about its exposure to the Chinese market. Let that sequence sit for a moment. BMW loses money because China is too competitive. BMW issues a profit warning. BMW then hires a Chinese AI company to build the most critical software component of its next flagship EV, and then BMW produces a car that charges faster than any Tesla currently available, delivers 434 miles of range, and reaches 10 to 80% charge in 21 minutes on BMW's own NACS-equipped supercharger-accessible network. The profit warning came first. In 2024, BMW joined a growing list of European premium automakers, acknowledging that Chinese competition, both inside China and increasingly in European home markets, was compressing margins in ways the business model had not anticipated. Dealers were sitting on inventory. Order banks were softening. The board made decisions that boards make when comfortable market positions become uncomfortable market realities. Invest in the technology that is winning, regardless of where that technology originates. Momenta provided the answer. Founded in 2016, Momenta has accumulated more than 20 million kilometers of autonomous driving data in Chinese urban environments, the densest, most complex, most chaotic driving conditions on Earth. Its M-Pilot system handles lane changes, highway cruising, automated parking, and urban navigation in conditions that would challenge any autonomous system developed in the comparatively orderly traffic environments of Germany or California. BMW integrated Momenta's technology into the iX3's driver assistance architecture, not as a temporary solution, but as the foundation of the vehicle's autonomous capability roadmap. And we arrive at the gold, the most crucial, number 1. Not the most affordable on this list, the Twingo wins that at $19,490. Not the best range, the CLA Electric 792 kilometers wins that. Not the fastest charging, the iX3's 21 minutes wins that. Number 1. Because the Volkswagen ID Aura T6 represents something more significant than any specification, any quarterly sales figure, or any market share percentage. Number 1. Because the Volkswagen ID Aura T6 is the most honest automotive story of 2026, and the honesty is the most radical thing about it. Here is the setup. VW CEO Oliver Blume stood in front of investors, media, and competitors and said publicly, not in an internal memo, not to a select group of executives, that young Chinese consumers view Volkswagen as their parents' car, irrelevant, outdated, the brand their father drove, not the brand they would choose. In one sentence, the leader of Europe's most iconic automotive company acknowledged that the brand his predecessors built into a global institution had become, in the world's most important automotive market, associated with the past rather than the future. That statement required a response that matched its honesty. And the response that VW chose was the most strategically bold decision in the company's modern history. VW partnered with Xpeng, not acquired, not licensed technology from, partnered, as in sat engineers from both companies in the same rooms, shared development costs, shared intellectual property, shared the kind of institutional knowledge that companies typically guard with non-disclosure agreements in legal departments. The same Xpeng that was building the cars taking VW's customers, the same Xpeng whose ADAS systems were setting the benchmark for intelligent driving in China, the same Xpeng that VW's European competitors were studying from a distance while VW was sitting at the table. Europe was supposed to be finished. China had the price, the technology, the momentum, and 3 years of consecutive market share gains that every analyst projected would continue indefinitely. Instead, Europe did something smarter. Renault lost China and came home with LFP battery knowledge that allowed it to build the cheapest EV in Europe at €19,490. Volkswagen lost 72% of its Chinese EV sales and extracted enough from that defeat to build the most affordable car in its electric lineup using cost lessons Chinese engineers taught its German development team. Mercedes watched its China sales fall 30% in a single quarter and simultaneously posted the best single month in Mercedes EV history, 6,942 units in March 2026, by applying Chinese charging architecture in battery chemistry to a premium European product. BMW issued a profit warning about Chinese competition and then hired a Chinese AI company to build the autonomous driving brain of its best electric vehicle. And Volkswagen partnered directly with Xpeng, the Chinese rival actively destroying its sales, to co-develop the most technologically advanced car in VW's history, then had its CEO stand in Beijing and publicly credit China for teaching the company what it needed to become globally relevant again. Mercedes up 87%, BMW with Chinese autonomous driving, VW building its most advanced car with its Chinese rival. Is this surrender, or is this genius? The answer might be that those two things are not always opposites. The most successful responses to disruption in history have rarely looked like resistance, they have looked like absorption, taking what the disruptor built, understanding why it works, and rebuilding around it faster and more effectively than the disruptor expected. Europe absorbed China's playbook, and the 5 cars on this list are the proof that the absorption worked. Drop a comment. Can Europe win this war by using China's own weapons against it? Or did Europe wait too long and learn too little? Share this with every car fan who already wrote Europe off. Subscribe, ring the bell, drop that like. The fight is back on. See you in the next one.